Brilliance Audio presents Your Perfect Year by Charlotte Lucas. Translated by Allison Leyland. Performed by Carly Robbins and P.J. Oakland. Jonathan N. Grief was not a happy man. His morning routine had begun as it always did. At precisely 6:30, he had donned his tracksuit, defied the freezing temperature, and ridden his mountain bike to the starting point of his daily run around the outer Ulster Lake. And like every year on the 1st of January, he was plagued by numerous minor irritations. He shook his head at the remains of firecrackers and rockets that littered the gray slush and turned every sidewalk, cycle track, and footpath into a slippery, ugly mess. He tutted over the sooty, smashed Prosecco and beer bottles that must have served as launch pads in the night, with no one apparently deeming it necessary to put them in the recycling afterward. He tried in vain to ignore the thick, murky air that the partying, and in Jonathan Grief's eyes, irresponsible citizens of Hamburg had, with their brainless pyrotechnics, transformed into a nightmare of fine particle pollution that now hovered in a blanket of smog over the city, making it hard for him to breathe. Now, of course, the New Year's Eve corpses would all be lying, hungover and comatose, in their beds, having written down their resolutions to drink less and stop smoking, and shot them into space on noisy rockets at 1 minute past midnight, before rampaging and running riot into the early hours of the morning, not caring that enough money to put the national economy to rights had gone up in flames. But these were not the only thoughts bothering Jonathan Grief. What outraged him most was that his ex-wife Tina had this year, as ever, seen fit to leave a chocolate chimney sweep, that cloying symbol of good luck, on his doorstep sometime in the night, along with a card in which she wished him, as ever, a happy and successful New Year. A happy and successful New Year. As he pounded over the Krugkoppel Bridge to where the path led down past the Red Dog Cafe into Ulster Park, he increased his speed to 14 kilometers per hour, every step slapping down onto the sandy surface with a heavy crunch.
Hannah Marks woke and knew she was in love. But she had no idea with whom. One thing she did know, which confused her even more, was that it definitely was not her boyfriend Simon Clam, whose longed-for marriage proposal had not yet materialized. Granted, her longing remained secret. She had not so much as hinted. But since they'd been a couple for more than 4 years now, Hannah thought it was high time he asked. She pushed the duvet back, sat up, and rubbed her eyes in bewilderment. What a strange dream! She could still feel the pleasant tingling running through her whole body, and a quick look in her bedside mirror showed that her cheeks were flushed. Her red hair was sticking out wildly as though she had spent the whole night tossing her head from side to side on the pillow, and even her lips glowed red and full, as though she'd been smooching for hours. There was no doubt about it. Hannah had fallen in love in her sleep. No, it wasn't an erotic dream about some stranger. Not at all. Nor was it a dream involving someone she knew. No former co-worker, neighbor, or any of her friends. In fact, she couldn't recall a man featuring in her dream at all. Only a feeling. That unequivocal feeling of being in love, of warmth and security, of butterflies in the stomach, of an excess of joy and high spirits, laughter and craziness, and of happiness. Yes, happiness. With a sigh, she swung her legs over the side of the bed and sat for a moment. She shook her head in the hope it might bring her thoughts to order and exorcise the nebulous dream. However pleasant the feeling might have been, she needed a clear head this morning. This was going to be an important day. She and her best friend and business partner Lisa had spent the last 6 months renovating a rundown store on Eppendorfer Weg. They'd drawn up business plans for their new enterprise, filled out endless forms, created a website, and even put together a considerable amount of startup capital through crowdfunding, with a little help from Hannah's and Lisa's parents.